thank you for joining us again today. With us, we have Steve Baum. Steve is a partner in our New York City office, as well as the leader of our Emerging Technology and Innovation Group. Hello, Steve. How are you?
Doing very good.
Well, welcome. Steve had a recent event. He was married just about 3 months ago, right in the middle of all this craziness, literally on the balcony of his apartment. But while we're talking about the impact of COVID on your marriage, or at least on your wedding day, let's talk about the impact of it on businesses. And specifically, let's talk about the kinds of transitions that businesses are going through in the technology area.
Yeah, absolutely. So I focus a lot of my time in the emerging technology space and, into innovation for businesses, for our accounting firm internally as well as externally for our clients. We're seeing significant changes in the way we operate on a day-to-day basis. Number one, by the way people work remotely, which is a significant swing to how we used to do things in person. And then number two is just, around overall communication and, payments. Seeing the way that things are paid now compared to how things have been paid prior, whether it was a physical check or, a manual approval of an invoice, we're seeing a huge shift to putting these things online and utilizing technologies to allow for remote work and allow for us to transact with individuals without having the physical presence anymore.
Let's talk about the operating remotely question, because I know that's something that obviously everyone's dealing with. We as a professional services firm, we just came through the 9/15 tax filing deadline, and it was very, very different doing that in a remote environment. But one of the we've read about the banks and their reports that have come out that operating remotely leads to a decline in productivity. What can businesses do to overcome that? What sorts of suggestions or ideas do you have for enhancing the remote work environment?
Yeah, so I'm a big, I really look at process, okay? And I think that when you're remote and you have people in all these different areas, it's more and more important to create a strong process. And utilization of technology is going to be a key part of developing those processes. So whether it's a process of how we book accounts payable, to pay our vendors, whether it's a process around how we ship, a process around, how we make our payments, all these things have to be more defined, because we're not able to just walk over to somebody's desk and say, I approve this, or, do this, or have a conversation about it. So building out strong processes in a time like this by utilizing technologies and using the vendors and software that our vendors are providing us is going to help us be more efficient, and it's going to allow for ease of use when people aren't going to be coming back to the office on a regular basis.
What about for non-professional services firms? What are you seeing out there? For us, whether we're in the office, we talk to people all the time remotely. There's a lot of, obviously manufacturing businesses can't work remotely, but they can divide their operations into those that can and those that can't. How do you see that transitioning over the next few years?
So I think that there's always going to be some level of job or level of service that's going to have to be in person. But as it relates to manufacturing or things that are you need physical presence, those are still going to be critical, but those are just going to be the baseline of inputs into our process. So if you have somebody in a manufacturing facility, while you might have had a manufacturing manager that had to be on site to oversee these individuals every time a shipment came in, making sure that they logged it correctly. Now you could potentially use software and data to ensure that this stuff is going on without actually physically being there and overseeing it on site. So the use of certain things like blockchain technology, utilizing blockchain in certain supply chains and things like that will allow for a lot of companies to track where products are, how products are moving through a supply chain, what are the areas that are causing us less efficiencies, what are more efficient areas, and all these things I think are going to be accelerated now because the people who are overseeing it, whether it's the COO of the company, the operations manager that's in the warehouse, those people aren't physically present like we used to be. So the need to adapt to these things is becoming much more important as we go into this kind of remote world. So even though you're still going to have people with boots on the ground in certain areas, I think there's going to be a huge shift of the reliance of, these direct oversight and things like that by using certain platforms and processes that are going to be put in place through technology.
One of the things that I was thinking about as you were talking about this is it's also an opportunity to right-size the kinds of facilities that you use for manufacturing or warehousing, but not just right-size, but right-locate. If you can control them from a remote location, the opportunity to relocate them to someplace where it might be more efficient within the supply chain, or you might be able to get labor or other resources more efficiently. It seems like there's a real opportunity here for businesses to look at that and right size and right locate what they have currently.
Yeah, no, definitely. I mean, I think when you look at the way things operate now, and you look at the big, supply chains, you look at Amazon, you look at the Walmarts and things like that, they're already taking this into consideration where they're using these huge warehouses, right, to figure out, what areas have the highest needs, and they're using high level of technology to track all of their vendors that are on their platform. And it's pretty amazing what they're able to do with the speed of delivery and things like that by using technology. I think when you look at Amazon, it's a company that doesn't really sell anything, right? All they really sell is their technology, right? People go on their website and they sell products via Amazon's website. And Amazon, all they're providing is a platform and a software technology that they charge a commission on. And
it's just a logistics business.
Exactly. They're just a logistics business. And there's a lot of these types of businesses out there. You look at certain businesses like there's a company out there that sells beds. They're called Casper, right? And Casper, I always use them as an example because if you ask Casper's, CEO or somebody in their ops team, they would probably tell you they're a technology company, right? The bed is just the way to use that technology in the most efficient manner, right? So they are a company you could order a bed online and they'll ship the bed right to your house, okay? Now, it's all logistics for them. So yeah, they might have some showrooms where you could lay on the bed and try it out. But if you look at that, it's really about the supply chain and the ability to ship a bed in a box. Like how are we able to ship a bed in a box more efficiently than somebody else who has to send a bed that's a big bed with a delivery driver, charge you a ton in fees. So when you look at technology in that way, I think you're going to start to see more and more companies that are going to disrupt different industries. So we look at real estate. You look at retail, whether it's apparel or other retail products, and the companies that are disrupting it are all technology companies, right? So these companies are considered technology companies, but they'll disrupt certain industries like real estate, right? And whether it's in the fundraising side of real estate, or if it's in, the ability to find a roommate for somebody, it could be in a variety of different ways. But what we're seeing is technology companies who have this type of back-end platform or back-end technology will actually disrupt other industries that have been, so going along at this steady pace for such a long time. So that to me is where I really see it. And, even with the stock market, you see all these tech companies just completely insane valuations because everybody understands that the underlying technology behind it will disrupt a lot more than what we originally had thought.
So if you have one last word for our viewers, those who are at Amazon or Casper and haven't yet gotten to that point where they're a disruptor, what should they be thinking about now and for the next year insofar as these technology and technological changes are going to be affecting how they plan for their business?
So we're seeing a paradigm shift right now. And the paradigm shift is from the real world to more of the virtual world. And it's happening in everything, whether it's digital payments that you're seeing with cryptocurrencies now, or whether it's blockchain technology in a supply chain, or if it's AI with data analytics. And what I would say to any business owner is understand how that paradigm shift is going to affect your business and be ahead of it. Understand how you can get ahead of the shift and don't be the person who's the last to adopt.
Steve, great words. Great advice. Thanks very much. And again, congratulations. Enjoy the first year of marriage. It's great.
Yeah. Thanks.
Take care, everyone. Thanks for joining us.